Hello, my name's Rhianne Holloway and I am one of the assistant principals at Studio School in 6th and also the professional lead for performing arts. So this round of Mat CPD I wanted to really focus on careers within the industry, giving teachers and students an insight into different careers that they can take on, but also to understand the training paths and the qualifications and the experiences that professionals who are successful within the industry have gone through. After this video, you will see 4 professionals ranging from performers to talent agencies to principals of local drama schools. I really hope that you find it insightful and also value kind of their opinions and their ideas and their honesty. This is also a video that potentially teachers could use to show their students. So for us, for students that are doing the BTEC Level 3, we will show this video when they're focusing on the Unit 2. So looking at professionals and their career routes and their research and their case studies. So please enjoy and feel free to take some notes, ask me some questions if you have any, drop me an email, but also feel free to share this with your students as well.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Dudley and I am an actor. I've been an actor now for 15, nearly 16 years in the West End. I've done some film, UK tour, international tour, cruise ship, lots of different avenues. I'm also a teacher. I teach at Performers College, Anna Mill Dale, University of Chichester. I'm currently working on Shrek UK tour. I'm actually about to leave down to do tech in Plymouth. So yes, I'm currently on Shrek. Other shows I've done, I've like Wicked, Book of Mormon, Les Miserables, Chess, Titanic, Scrooge, there's other things that you were never heard of, but that's what I do and who I am. Next question, what inspired you? I think for me, when I was younger, I found an avenue that I could sing. I was probably about 8 or 9, probably a bit younger actually, and I started singing. Mum and Dad were actually like, oh, you can actually sing. And then I kind of sang at people's weddings and stuff. And then I was probably about 8 or 9 and I went down to see my first professional Western show, which was Les Miserables, and didn't know you could do it as a job. And I think once I saw that you could do it as a job, apparently that was it. I turned to my parents and said, well, that's what I want to do. So I think when I saw the fact of all these actors on stage telling this amazing story in this theatre, and that was their job, I just thought, oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. But I would say that was the point where I really decided, when I first saw my professional show, and I thought that's what I want to do. And then from there, I kind of always had that in the back of my mind, and that was the programme that I used to look at when I wanted to go to drama school and blah, 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 blah. But I think I kind of fell into performing arts that I found out I could sing when I was really young, and then kind of did little bits and bobs. And then when I found out that you could do it as a job and I saw that first performance, that first Western show, I was like, that was it. And that inspired me then. And that's when I really took it seriously. And I went to singing lessons, dance lessons, acting lessons, joined a local youth theatre, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's what inspired me. My training route. So when I was younger, I had singing lessons when I was at secondary school. As well as dance lessons, and I joined a youth theatre, a local youth theatre in West Bromwich Operatic Society Youth Theatre. I did that for a few years and then kind of did as many as I could. Bless my parents, drove me everywhere to do as many shows as I could, because the more experience I got, the better I think I became as a performer. And then kind of did my research, went to see shows, looked in the programme of different drama schools and where did the people come from, where they're trained, if I really thought they were amazing or whatever. And then I kind of did all my auditions, kind of blindly, didn't really know what to expect, but had my songs, done my dance lessons, did all my monologues. And then I went to Mount View Academy of Theatre Arts. It wasn't my top choice when I was auditioning, another school was. And it was on the day that I was there and I thought, gosh, I really prefer this place to actually my top one before in my head. I had a year out before I went to drama school. I got my place and I deferred, purely kind of financially, but also I don't think I was mentally, it was more that I wasn't mentally ready, I don't think, to go down. And I had a friend that been through it and was like, look, it's a lot, you've got to be ready. And so I had a year out where I did like professional panto as a dancer. I sang Alton Towers theme at theme park. worked in a bar, kind of did things, got money together, and then when I went, and I think I definitely got more out of my training from that aspect. And in my year at drama school, there was a lot of different age groups. Anyway, and then I went down to drama school at the age of 18, graduated when I was 21, and then yeah, that was my route into my training, definitely. But before that, I think you have to have some lessons in terms of, yes, your academic studies and your school, but also some singing lessons, some technique, dance lessons, things like that definitely help you. How did I get to where I am? That's a very good question. I think you definitely need the support of family and friends. I think that you need that support mechanism because there will be times where it is hard mentally and physically, and you need those people you can ring up and be like, oh, I didn't get the job, or blah blah blah. So I think without the support of friends and family, it's very very tough in this industry. So I think I wouldn't be where I am without the help of them, definitely. Hard work, I'm not going to lie to you. um, you got to be as versatile as you can, and that's where the term triple threat comes from. I think not every performer in the world will be an equally amazing at singing, dancing, and acting. The term triple threat just means you will get more auditions, which obviously gives you more chance of working. If you hate dance, what show can you go in for? Nothing. If you don't like singing, what musical can you be in? Not really a lot. So if you're not scared and if you've got good skill set in all three and you're confident, then your agent can ring you and say, hey, I've got an audition for Cats, and you're not petrified to go, or I've got an audition for Phantom of the Opera, and you're not petrified to go. So that's where the term triple threat comes from. So I think hard work. At drama school, I really worked hard to kind of get my weaker skill set, I would say, up to a standard that I felt confident in. Um, yeah, I think that's where the term triple threat comes from. Family and friends as a support mechanism. And I think research, you've got to keep on top of your repertoire and your health, what you look like in this industry. You don't get anywhere without your physical appearance, I hate to say, whether that be your hair colour, your race, your size, your height. These are natural things that we all have as little attributes against somebody else. And you should never be afraid of things that make you unique, because that's actually what the casting panel want. So I think you've got to look after yourself. You've got to find your own style. You've got to get thick skin in terms of rejection, stuff like that. But I think support mechanism, hard work, research, everything that's going on. The industry changes all the time. Look after yourself as well as your physical appearance, and be nice. Can't tell you now how many times I've gone back into audition for a show with a certain choreographer, director, casting director, whatever, and because you worked well for that person, or you're just a nice person, or you're funny or whatever, they go, oh, I want to work with that person again. And half the time that's the battle of getting a job, is that they go, oh, if I've got two people auditioning for me but I've worked with one before and that person's really a good worker and I like them, they're going to get the job more than the newbie. Does that make sense? So always be nice to everybody you can, even if they're not nice to you. The highlight of working in this industry, I mean, what's the saying? If you love the job you do and you never work a day's work in your life, or whatever the saying is, that's not correct, but um, it's so true that if you love your job, it doesn't feel like work. And I think that's the highlight for me, is that yes, this job will still be stressful at times. Yes, it will be tiring. Yes, it will get boring because it's a job. But at the same time, the highlight is that you've turned a hobby into your career, and it's how you make money. And so it's funny, when I first started, you speak to your mom and your dad, and they're doing muggle jobs, and they're working in an office or working in a hospital, as my mom does, and whatever. What do you do today? And you're like, well, I put on this costume and I pranced around the stage, and that's my job. And so that's the highlight for me, is that I've been able to turn something I love into my job, and that allows me to live. Also, the highlight is meeting people. I think actors are the most open, friendly, diverse, accepting people in the world, and the skill set you get from work in the industry will help you in every aspect of your life. And I think that's definitely a highlight, is the fact that you can go into work and just be silly and who you want to be, and there's no prejudice and there's no kind of, oh gosh, that person's singing, because it's ridiculous what we do. So yeah, I think that's definitely a highlight for me. Travel, if you can travel and work, you're winning. You know, someone pays you to go and sing, dance, and act in a show or in a film or whatever, and get paid to see the world. Your quid's in. So definitely those ones are the highlights for me. The difficult part of the industry, I think the obvious answer is rejection. I think the statistic, I can't say it, statistic is 1 in 60 auditions. If you book it, you're doing well. I mean, you know, you don't get 60 auditions. In a year anyway. I think the difficult part is the rejection. You will hear no more than you will hear yes. And I think a lot of the time you don't get an answer why you didn't get a job, so you'll walk away and you're like, oh, God, I really nailed that. And then you just get no, but not told why. You know, what did I do wrong? What did I... So it's the thick skin. It's definitely the rejection, and I think that gets easier with experience. It gets easier with um, age, because I think you just kind of accept, you know what you're good at. You have to hold on to what you're good at because you won't hear it a lot in the industry. But also, you go, okay, next one, and you brush it off and you carry on. It's the people who don't survive in this industry are the ones that let it beat them down and they stay down. You got to let it go. Oh, of course, have a bad day, treat yourself, speak to a friend, whatever, and then pick yourself back up and go for the next one, because that is the nature of the beast. And half the time it is luck. And I mean, how lucky you are on that day to sing well, act well, dance well, get the job, be the right place at the right time, but also how you look. And a lot of the time, your jobs are cast on how people look, and you can't change that. I can't go, oh, the blonde boy. So what? You know, you can't change it. So it's about acceptance of that, definitely. And the other one I would say is that you will be asked sometimes to miss family functions, weddings, whatever. If you're in a contract and they can't allow you a day off, it's difficult because you can't go to every wedding and every function that you want to. It's not like another job where you can book holiday. You can in a long running contract, but if it's not that way, it doesn't always work as easy as that. You can't just go, oh, I need July the 4th off because I'm going to my cousin's wedding. You might hear no, and you might have to miss things. And I did miss a lot of important things at the start of my career. Now you work ways into it, you get it written into your contract or whatever, but be prepared that you will miss events with family and friends, and it's about how you deal with that, really. I think it's the most difficult part of our industry, and the rejection, obviously. Top tips for students. I've got two, really. I would say be a sponge. You know, you put a sponge in water and it soaks all the water up. It's exactly the same thing. You will work with so many different actors, casting directors, choreographers, music directors, whatever, and each different person, whether you realise it at the time, will have an impact on you as a performer. You take the good and the bad from them. You might meet some people and go, the way they work is incredible, and I really take it from them. And then other people you go, ooh, don't think you dealt with that in the right way. And that's awful to say, but you learn from the good and the bad. And that's what I would say, be a sponge. When you're training, you will get taught so many different ways of acting, dance, singing, acting for camera, all these different things. It won't all make sense to you. Some bits will go, yeah, actually, that really works for me, or that doesn't work for me. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work for you. It's a bit like a toolbox. I need to hang up a picture. I'm not going to use every tool in my toolbox, but I will go, oh my gosh, yeah, I know how to use that. I can't tell you how many times in your industry you'll come across something and you'll go, oh yeah, I have done that before at drama school or whatever. You don't do it every day, you don't practice it every day, but these things make sense to you in the weirdest of times. And so that's what drama school does. It gives you every possible scenario. It gives you every single little aspect of the industry, and it trains you in as much as it can, so that if you ever meet a director that works in a particular way or whatever, you are equipped for it. And that's what drama school is. So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't make sense. If you will have a bad day, we're all humans and you will go wrong. You will have a bad singing day. You will have a day where you don't remember the text. You will have a day where you fall over in dance. We're only humans and you do make mistakes on stage, even professionals. And so don't beat yourself up too much. We're not saving lives. What we do is silly. Try and enjoy it as much as you can. Remind yourself how much you enjoy it, and that's why you want to do it, because there'll be days where you're down and upset and things are going wrong and you're comparing yourself to other people. But what you need to do is remind yourself that you love it, and that's why you went into it. So they're my top tips. Be a sponge, take everything you can from somebody, have fun, and allow yourself to go wrong. I think that's the whole point of drama school training. You won't get everything. You won't understand everything. It won't all work for you straight away, but you just try your hardest. Top tips for teachers. This is hard, but I need some of this advice as well. I think for me, as a teacher, I've always taught alongside performing, and I think you have to adapt. And what's hard, I think, is I've now been lucky enough to do my teacher training, and so I've taught kind of syllabus and then workshops, and the difference between that, I think it's about you being adaptable in terms of theatre and performing arts adapts all the time. It's sometimes it's more modern material that students might react better to. They might love Hamilton the musical more or whatever rather than Oklahoma, but the importance is that they have to do both, because again, going back to that triple threat thing, is to equip the students and for yourself. They need to have done all genres of musical theatre and not to forget about technique, even though I've taught lessons where the students are like, oh gosh, not technique of this or whatever. It's the basis of everything, and whether they hate it or not, tough in a weird way, it will help them in a long run, whether they hate it or not. But I also then think, on the other hand, it's about you adapting and knowing that you might not love this particular style or musical or show or TV, whatever, as much as they do, but it's about you covering all bases. Keep on top of your rep. It's the hardest thing for me, is that I always get asked, oh, what would you audition with for this? What monologue? What song? And obviously, like, I've got my rep folder and I taught myself and whatever, but it's to keep on top of that. Listen to new musicals. Listen to, go and see as much theatre as you can, whether it be a play or a film or whatever, because I think you have to be on top of that for your students. That's what I try and preach to myself anyway. And make it fun. It has to be serious. It has to be hard work. They have to know the reality of what, if they want to go into performing arts as a career, what they are getting themselves in for, but also to install in them that it will be hard work, but it is fun and it's silly, and everyone should be celebrated for their unique style of performing or who they are or what they wear or whatever. I think that should always be celebrated, and make it a safe place. It's so hard. It's such a vulnerable thing, is to performing arts, getting up in front of someone and singing, dancing, acting, doing a monologue, whatever. It's an exposing thing, and I think I always try to create that safe space where the students feel comfortable enough to get up and be silly and to fail, to fall on their face, and to have no one laugh at them in a nasty way. So I always try and make it light-hearted, as well as the strict side, because it is a vulnerable thing that we do. And I think, remind yourself, what's hard for me is when I go in to teach workshops, the students hang off your every word and they're like, oh, because you're new. I think when you're a regular teacher, they just go, oh, gosh, it's Mrs. whatever again, or Mr. whatever. And the thing is, I think you've already taught them what I'm telling them. It's just the fact that it's somebody new saying it. And I think sometimes I've seen teachers go, I tell them that all the time. And I'm like, I know you do. It's just the fact that when it's somebody new, they go, yeah. So remind yourself, actually, how good you are as a teacher, because I think sometimes students, go, oh, can't be bothered. And it can dishearten you. I know I have that when I teach, and you see the students not reacting to the material you're teaching or whatever. But in the long run, you're doing the right thing. That makes sense. And you've already taught them the stuff they need So don't be disheartened if someone comes in as a workshop leader and the students are like, oh, really hyper and excited and whatever, and get loads of things done in an hour and a half. It's just because it's somebody new. That's all it is.
Hello, my name is Sophia Evans. I work at Olivia Bell Management in London, which is a leading talent agency for upcoming clients. So we look after people such as Michael Ward, who was in Top Boy. We look after Belle Priestley, who was in Heartstopper season 2. And we also look after loads of emerging and upcoming artists. And we also look after Johannes and Graziano from Strictly Come Dancing. And then what I do at Olivia Bell is I am the musical theatre and press assistant. So my job is assisting agents and covering when they're away. And what we do is we submit actors for upcoming projects that are coming out, get them auditions, get them in the room to meet casting directors, and when they get the job, hopefully they get the job, is we negotiate contracts and we just see them through the contract and just help them out basically. So that is in a nutshell what I do. There's loads of different elements to it, but I feel like that's the best way to describe it. So what inspired me to work in the industry? I have just always been a very theatrical person, I guess. So I used to go to drama classes when I was little. It was the only way I could get all my energy out. And I remember watching movie musicals with my mum when I was little, and I used to just absolutely love them. My first theatre trip was to see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I believe, which was amazing. And I used to just always go to the shows at the Birmingham Hippodrome, and I used to think, that's what I want to do. I want to go on stage and I want to perform, and that is all I want to do in my life. Not doing that, but I'm helping other people do that with their lives. So it's a really, really rewarding job. So my training route is I started by going to drama classes when I was younger, and then from there started to take it a little bit more seriously, and I ended up going to Birmingham Ormiston Academy, where I met the lovely Miss Holloway. He was my acting teacher there. I trained at Birmingham Ormiston Academy for 4 years. I then took a gap year whilst auditioning for drama school. Then I ended up going to Colchester Institute to study musical theatre, and yeah, then I just never trained again. So that was my training route. How did I get to where I am now? It was an interesting journey, to say the least. So when I was in my 3rd year at university, I was going to auditions. I wasn't getting past dance rounds, and I kind of just had this epiphany, and I just thought, this isn't for me. This isn't what I want to do with my life. And I actually found myself at auditions is I would be looking around the room at the other actors, and I would think, oh my god, they're so good at this. Like, they're brilliant at dancing, they're brilliant at singing. Wow, like they're actually like phenomenal. Like, you just had those people who just had that energy and that spark, and you just thought, they're going places. So I had my 3rd year agent panel at uni, where Ellie Nelson from Olivia Bell Management came in to do this panel day with us. And I just remember I was so inspired by her, and I went up to her afterwards and I said, I don't want to do this, but I would love to do what you do, so how can I get into it? And she said, we sometimes do internships, so you can send in your CV, and you know, we can see where it goes, sort of thing. Obviously that was the year of the pandemic, the worst time to possibly graduate, and it was 2021, summer of 2021. No, I need to go back a minute. So the pandemic happened, and I decided to just write out to loads of agencies and just try and intern. I ended up working at David Ball Management after a phone call and a Zoom meeting, where I just reached out to him and I worked for him and assisted for him for 3 months. And then in the summer of 2021 is when I saw the job advert for Olivia Bell. They were looking for an intern. I wrote in and I said, it was Ellie specifically hiring, which weird. And I wrote and I just said, you probably don't remember me, but I would absolutely love to intern. I've been doing this for the past few months. And I got an interview. 2 interviews later, I got the job, and now I'm working here nearly 3 years later. So it's mental how the world works. Really, really strange. But that is how I got to where I am now. What is the most difficult bit about working in the industry? I think there's quite a few difficult things. I think it's really hard to tell your clients when they haven't got a job, when they've done multiple rounds of auditions, and I think the worst thing is sometimes you just don't get feedback, or the feedback that you get for them is very limited. And I think it's very hard to close a door and move on when you don't know exactly why you didn't get something. And I think that can be really hard to accept as an actor, because you just take it very personally. Of course you would, and that's exactly the reason that I decided it wasn't for me, because I couldn't take the constant rejection and never knowing why, or what I did wrong. That's the wrong thing to say, but I never knew how I could improve and go forward. And I'd probably say that's the hardest bit of the job. You can obviously give your opinion and say what your thought is, but sometimes it's your best just isn't good enough, and I think that can be the hardest thing about working in the industry. But the highlights of working in the industry is when you get to tell someone that they did get the job. You get to see people develop. Over the past 2.5 years that I've been working at Olivia Bell, we had clients that we took on, and just seeing them develop into just amazing, incredible actors, and how far they've come in that time space. I think it's so exciting. And when you have an action plan to develop someone's career and get them to the next level and the next step, it's really exciting to see what you wanted for someone pan out. I'd say that's the highlight of my job. My top tip that I would give to students wanting to work in the industry is networking is so key. Knowing people and knowing who people are, knowing what's going on, and always being aware and having an awareness is just so key. It's good to take an interest, it's good to get to know people, but it's got to be to a point that it's not sucking up, but it's the right level. It's being interested and engaged, and you're hungry to know more, and I think that's a really great thing. I think another thing is there are so many avenues, there are so many different jobs that you could do in this industry, that it's literally insane. The possibilities of what you could do is crazy. You could be a producer, an actor, a director, a choreographer, an agent. You could be anything really. So, and you could also work backstage. There's so many things. The possibilities are endless. So I think always being open, and also knowing that you don't have to do one thing. You don't have to be just one thing, and you can transfer your skills. I know so many people who have worked as agents and gone into casting, or the other way round, or they've gone on to produce, or like the amount of actors who turn into agents is crazy, and it's a good thing. So just know that your skills are transferable into other parts of the industry, and be very open-minded is probably my top tip. Okay, my last one is any top tips for teachers of performing arts. I think this is a really hard one to answer, and I've been struggling. I've tried to retake this a few times. I think always being supportive of your students, teaching them to do their research, teaching them to be a sponge and honestly just take in every single thing around you. It's so important to be a sponge and constantly learn and be hungry to know more. So I think that's probably my top tip, is just be sponges. Be sponges, learn everything you can. If you know people, and also probably my other thing is don't be afraid to ask for something, because if you don't ask, you won't get. And I actually think if you happen to know anyone in the industry, getting advice and building a support bubble. And actually that leads me to probably my top tip to teach your students, is that it's not a competition. It's not a competition, and the most important thing is being a lovely person in this industry, because it will get you so far. The thing that's most important when casting directors are looking for an actor in a project is they just want to know that you're a nice person and that you can lead a company. We actually have a company rule at Olivia Bell that we will not take on an actor unless you would go on a 2-week holiday with them. And I think that's a rule that should be applied to life, because it's just so important to be a lovely person, and just surround yourself with good people as well. So that would be my top tip, is never be competitive, be a nice person, support people when they get things right, and it will just get you so far. The nicer you are, the better, but make sure it's genuine, not fake, but I'm sure it will be. But I'd probably say that's my top tip.
Hello, I'm Pantelakis Christou. I'm an actor, singer, dancer and creative within the performing arts industry. And I have just finished on Avia, which is P&O's brand new ship, as an inaugural cast member. I am now going into rehearsals for another P&O ship called Azora. My inspiration to work in the industry definitely stems from, as a family, we used to sit down and watch all the big movie musicals together, like Sound of Music, West Side Story, The King and I, and just watching the screen, I just instantly fell in love with the storytelling and how music can transcend you into this other world and just captivate you. And I was like, that's something I want to do. And then it wasn't until primary school, a few years after these things would happen, a travelling theatre company came into our school and we devised 2 short plays and performed in them. And from then I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. My training route was somewhat traditional. So I went to dance school every Saturday until I was 18. But from 16, I decided that I wanted to specialise in musical theatre training. So I got into Birmingham Ormiston Academy, also known as BOA, and did 2 years there of intensive musical theatre training. And from then I went on to drama school, gaining a place in Manchester at the Arden School of Theatre, further studying musical theatre. Upon finishing my degree, I managed to gain an agent out of our 3rd year showcase, which I'm very thankful for and very lucky to have had. And I decided that the best route to take from then was to move to London and be within the heart of the industry. So off I went to London and lived and breathed and survived in the big smoke. After auditions and auditions and auditions, I gained my first professional credit involved in a musical adaptation of Bissett's Carmen at the Union Theatre in Southwark. So that was my debut in as a professional in the industry, and that was an amazing opportunity. I learnt so much and gained many new amazing experiences. From there, I managed to secure myself a role in Fame, the musical, for a tour in Italy. So off I went to Italy and toured around Italy with Fame, which again, an amazing experience. Very thankful for, and really broadened my horizons to what I could do as a performer. And then the pandemic happened. Curse word. So I took a little time out. There were very few auditions. Still tried to maintain my training. Kept on top of that. Did Zoom dance classes. Did Zoom acting workshops. Until we were finally out of that section of everyone's lives. And along came an audition to become a headliner for P&O. So I went and I got the job, and thus became part of the inaugural cast for their brand new ship Avia. And I've just finished that, and I fell in love with the shows and the cruising lifestyle. And I'm off to do another one. So yes, I've also been a part of a couple of music videos in between solid contracts, which have been great fun, a great way to learn different sides of the industry. So yeah, it's been an adventure that I'm very thankful for. Some of the highlights for working in the industry definitely have to be the sense of community that pulsates through the whole industry. It's a massive, humongous industry, but sometimes it feels so small when you can make connections from here, there and everywhere, and it really makes you feel like part of a big family. Another highlight would definitely have to be that I'm doing what I love and what I've always dreamed of, and it really pays off to see myself thrive in the industry that I've always dreamed of working in, and how attainable that can actually be. The most difficult parts of the industry definitely have to be, for starters, rejection. Now, it is something that you become numb to and become accustomed to, and it soon becomes water off a duck's back. However, at the beginning, it can be very daunting to be getting no's after no's after no's. But the no's don't really mean anything. It's the yeses that you should find solace in and excitement. And the no's are merely there to teach you lessons and to push you to keep going, to find that yes, because it is out there and you will find it and attain it. Another difficult part of the industry is your downtime. Time where you're in between contracts, going back to auditioning, but also juggling a regular job, because you do have to get a regular job to survive and be able to go to these auditions and carry on your training and going to your dance classes and singing lessons, etc. And it's about finding the balance. It's definitely, you can definitely reach the balance. It's not far out. There is a great balance that you can find, and it's just about working towards that balance of working a 9-to-5 job and also focusing on honing your crafting more. My top tips for working in the industry would definitely have to be, for starters, listen to your teachers, listen to your tutors, listen to your teachers. If they're giving you corrections, take them. It's not them attacking you. It's not them trying to bring you down and make you feel a bit rubbish. They're actually doing it to push you because they see your potential, and them giving you tough love is for you to strive to be a better performer than what you already are. And it's definitely out of love and not spite. So listen to your teachers 100%. Another thing for working in the industry, find something else that you love that's not performing, that's not in the industry, because having a 9-to-5 job, a regular job, when you're not performing, if it's something you love as well, it's so much better than working in a restaurant 9 to whatever hours, and you start to hate your life a little bit. So I would definitely say find something else that you love, that you know you can do and get a good money income coming through, so you're able to focus on your performing as well. And it's not saying it's a plan B, because nothing is a plan B. You don't need a plan B. You've got the plan A, the performing, and that can always be there. But you need something to support the plan A, and it's not a plan B, it's just supporting the plan A. So maybe an 8.1. I would also say training never stops. Lessons are not over. You're always continuously learning in the industry. So you go to those dance classes, you go to your singing lessons, you go to the acting workshops, because they're only going to better you as a performer. Never stop, never stop. Obviously take rests, know your limits, be healthy, be balanced, but never stop training, because it never stops. I've done many contracts now, and I'm still learning on every single contract that I go to. And for that, I'm so thankful, because I know I'm bettering myself as not only a performer, but as a person too. Also know that all the skills you learn during training and beyond are transferable. So you can put them into practice in any aspect of the industry, whether that is performing, whether that is becoming an agent, becoming a casting director. They're all transferable and allow you to push yourself into those work paths within the industry. I also would like to say that there's no clear path toward your dream, and your paths towards your dreams can change. That doesn't mean your dream changes. It just means the way you get there changes, and you need to be open to that and allow yourself time and space and be nurturing to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. One of the worst things in the industry is imposter syndrome. And once you know that you're there for a reason and you belong there and you deserve to be there, and you get that little nagging voice inside your head out, you can really come into fruition and be the best you can be. Also, be yourself. There is something so magical of being individual and unique to yourself and knowing yourself, because that is your unique selling point. As a performer, we all have a unique selling point, something that gives us the edge over the next person that looks exactly like us, because that comes from deep within that no one can replicate. So just be yourself, know yourself, and give that light to the world, because it is honestly, the light is ready to be shining out of you. So just allow that to come forward, and it will be one of the best things you ever do within the industry, is to be authentically yourself and show the industry what you're here to do, what you can give them, and who you are. So some tips for all you teachers out there in the performing arts industry. First of all, thank you. Without you, people like us couldn't come and help and give our stories. So really thank you. You are doing the world of wonder. A few tips. I would definitely say embrace each student's individuality. really help them find it, really allow them space to become themselves, because it is something that the industry loves seeing, is individuality and people knowing themselves 100% through and through, so they can give that to an audience or to a casting director. Honestly, help your students know exactly that they're here for a purpose, and the purpose is being themselves, and putting that into their work and let it reflect out as they perform. I would also say be progressive, know what's going on in the industry, being up to date. If you were teaching a certain thing one way and now something's come to light within the industry that alters your thinking, so you can implement it into your teaching, so you're constantly up to date with how the world is revolving and evolving in the industry especially. Please be progressive. Only through teaching your students in a progressive way can they better themselves for the ever-changing industry. Teachers, allow your students space to grow, as well as giving them tough love, because it's all about balance. Life is all about balance, and sometimes the students forget that, so they need reminding, and it's from you guys that they can be reminded of that. And creating a great relationship with your students is one thing I'm so thankful for that I had during my training, because it really made you feel like they were on your side and that they wanted nothing but the best for you. So I hope that you implement that always when teaching students in the performing arts industry. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you take something away from this, whether it be small or massive. I hope I helped. I am available for any workshop, whether that be acting, singing, dancing, creative workshop, or whether you just want me in for some friendly career advice or just to talk to the students on a level. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day.
Hi there, my name's Laura Millward and I'm the principal of Stagecoach Walsall, which means that I own the franchise for Walsall in terms of Stagecoach Performing Arts worldwide. How did I get into the industry? I've always been inspired by watching dance and theatre, and I was very fortunate that my parents would take me to watch the theatre, whether that was the annual panto or to go and watch musicals or dance shows. And I've got to be honest, I was really shy as a child and really suffered with low self-esteem and confidence. And I felt that as soon as I started to dance, I could say all the things I wanted to say, but without having to find the loud voice to be the loudest person in the room. And I had some inspirational teachers who noticed that I was quite good at it. And when they told me I was good at it, I felt good about myself. So again, if you feel good about yourself doing something, you do it more. So I really then fell in love with dance mainly and theatre. Did my GCSE in Performing Arts and then my BTEC National, the equivalent to 3 A-levels back then, and then was lucky to study at the University of Birmingham, Central Birmingham, and did a Dance and Theatre Arts BA Honours degree. I've taught in loads of colleges in the Midlands, but also down in London, lots of universities, various different schools, mainly teaching dance and occasionally performing arts. I've managed projects on behalf of Arts Council, regional arts lottery projects, where I've also gone for funding, etc. I've done the usual after school clubs, the holiday clubs, arts exchanges to Barcelona and also to Chicago. And then I started to cover lots of people that I'd trained with or acquaintances, covering their maternity leaves. And I did that for many years, covering GCSE dance or covering A-level dance. And on one of those occasions, the teacher was also a dance teacher at a Stagecoach and said to me, do you want to take on the weekend work as well? So I covered my first session at Stagecoach and thought, wow, I didn't even know this all existed. And started to realise it was a really huge network, as I say, worldwide. And a position came up that they were reopening the Stagecoach in Warsaw and they were looking for a dance teacher permanently. So I went to the interview. Luckily, I got that and did that for quite a few years before the principal decided she was moving on and selling the franchise business. And I stepped forwards, interviewed for that. And again, luckily, I got that. And the rest is history. Highlights. Oh my gosh, so many. I think as a performer, it was probably performing in Chicago in America when we did an arts exchange trip. That was wonderful when I was a lot younger. Most of my highlights come from watching the success and the development of young people. So at Stagecoach, we have been so fortunate to take not only the students but our families as well to London and to perform on the West End stage 3 times now. And also a real highlight was taking them to perform in Disneyland Paris. That was awesome. It was really lovely. I'm also really fortunate that my daughters attend Stagecoach with me as well. And it's been wonderful watching them grow and watching them perform on stage. And having them be part of what I do for my job I feel really lucky about that. And another highlight actually, which has taken me by surprise, is I've found a love and a need and a want to be a voice, for better words, for British Sign Language. And I've just completed my first level 1 course to really try and make my school accessible and really try and pave a way for deaf awareness and awareness of accessibility for people with hearing impairments or being deaf. I think the theatre is a wonderful place for that to develop lots more. It's not easy. I haven't got all the answers. Most certainly I'm not a specialist in this, but it's something that's intriguing me and something that I want to continue learning, and I feel continuing to learn makes me a good practitioner as well. Anything I'd do different? I just wish I had a bit more confidence when I was younger. I had lots of really fantastic teachers egging me on, pushing me forwards. Family were great, but there was just something stopping me truly believing in myself. And when I look back now, I think, well, if I'd have auditioned and had a go at getting into that top drama school or that top dance school, if I hadn't have got in, would it matter? Like, seriously, I've been so successful, and a lot of the stuff that I do now, I didn't even need my degree for. All I needed was a passion for learning, integrity, honesty, and hard work. So I think my only regret is not being more confident when I was younger.